Today's guest is Michael Sakata, President and CEO of the Maryland Transportation Builders and Materials Association. All right, Michael, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Great. You're heavy on the transportation side of things with the materials and all the things that are around that. I mean, I come from building materials, but the roofing and so it's quite different. So I'm looking forward to learning more about what's all involved on your side of things.
Yeah, Tats, first off, thank you for having me. Um, I'm Michael Sakata, President and CEO of the Maryland Transportation Builders and Materials Association. As you mentioned, a lot of transportation folks here. And I'm actually the tip of the spear, if you will, leading an organization with a rich history. We've been around since 1932. I represent more than 200 member companies and a workforce of growing more than 30,000 who are the backbone of our region's transportation infrastructure. These guys are the driving force behind building and maintaining roads, bridges, highways, transit systems that keep our region and Maryland moving. And I'm a little bit about my mission is to ensure that that our industry meets today's challenges and leads the way in solutions for tomorrow's transportation needs.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, roads, transportation is everywhere, but what do people miss? What are they not thinking about when they look at what you guys do?
I don't think people truly realize, what is involved behind every mile, of highway, bridge, transit system. And behind that lies a complex web of collaboration, a positive web of collaboration between the public, the private stakeholders, the transportation sector, which supports about 13 million jobs nationwide. It's vital to our economy with and daily lives with about 4.2 million miles of public roads, 600,000 bridges across the U.S. Its success depends on the careful planning of the consulting community, the significant financial investments from not just the local, state, federal, and the coordination, of all those parties. And in our region, just you probably heard the collapse of Francis Scott Key Bridge early this year. It had a significant impact on the port of Baltimore. It halted over 221 million dollars worth of goods that moved through that port daily, right? And not to mention the bridge, which also facilitated the movement of over 30,000 cars daily. A critical part in this region's transportation network. That incident really underscores the importance of the robust infrastructure and maintaining both, as I said, the local and national economic activity. If we had Jonathan Daniels here from the port, he'd tell you they're the number one roll on, roll off for cars. So what happened and what's happening right since that time? And I think each year, U.S. invests significant resources in infrastructure at the federal and state level, and those governments played critical roles. But those funds support projects that are not just about infrastructure bridge projects, but also a resilient and adaptable future. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's definitely transportation sector is the lifeline of our communities.
yeah. I mean, part of our business is coatings, which is related to the coatings and corrosion industry and stuff like that. And preventative, work is always the key for these things, but it's not always easy to get people to work on that side, preventing things from occurring or until obvious things occur. How do you sort of tackle that or manage that?
Yeah, that's tough, right? So, system preservation is what we call it. It's not sexy, right? But it needs those projects need to be funded. Those projects need to continually be invested in. So you have to, just like anything else. Everybody's asking for money, right? but you have to tell a story. The geometry of a road, right? When that becomes out of line, everybody's driven on a road late at night when it's rainy. Those ruts push you off. It's obvious signs that um, road's not well maintained. One snow season can uh, significantly impact the how road how you drive over it. So it's a system preservation. You look at even there are issues on even just the buildings that a lot of these things are state highway maintains. The bridges, I would say there's 252 functionally obsolete bridges just in Maryland alone. And they're working on those, but those are that's not a sexy topic, right? There's no ribbon cuttings for a road preservation project or a bridge rehab, redecking. Okay, and that's probably part of the problem here, right? Tats, we need to have some ribbon cutting for those projects, but that's inherently a problem, and you have to articulate that and explain to legislators this is what's going to happen when you don't fund things at certain levels.
Yeah. One of the you mentioned bridges overall, and one of the things within the coating industry, they say that if you want to go out of business, you start working on bridge coatings. And I think the point around that is it just takes so long for certain things to get approved in certain categories. Of course, bridges is a very critical thing, so you don't want things to go wrong with corrosion and stuff like that. But talk to me about innovation within, so the transportation thing. What are the things that that you find exciting or needs to get more awareness of?
Innovation is key, right? With stakeholders, and our contractor consulting community really pushing the boundary to integrate new technologies, sustainable practices. But to me, it's works on safety. There's a lot of um, new data and technology behind signage, all these things. Um, the cost alerts, there's alerting, or even just as you're using Waze or Google, it notifies you construction zone ahead, or this section of roadway has seen a history of crashes. Those small innovations that save lives. Not just the driver, but also the person working on the roadway to make it safer and better.
Yeah, you mentioned about Google and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm shocked that some of the things that Google can tell you around, where you can and estimating times. Is that something that is sort of actively worked on, or is it just yeah, I'm not quite sure because I find some of that information quite useful. Like, does the city or the municipal or the state level, is there coordination, or is that just Google just being on phones and knowing what people are doing, optimizing that?
That's a great question. Outside of my scope, but I do know that they are agencies are working with these localities um, to work on. There's been a few pieces of innovation that's been out there. Moving, who tracks over time the slow or the hard stops for vehicles, and there's some calculation that a certain amount of hard crashes that could result into hard stops result in a crash. So there are coordination with some agencies, not all, but it requires that kind of cutting edge and forward thinking.
Yeah. No, for sure. I'm always interested, because, within the broader construction building materials, I'm always interested in companies doing a good job sort of proving out their point and then getting adoption and change to occur. Um, in your mind, looking at, successful innovations that proved a safety track record and stuff like that, what is sort of the keys or examples of innovations that really sort of did a good job to present their case and follow it through and make a positive change?
I don't think you have to look too far. from the HOS alerts, those alerts that let folks know what's happening. I think that is significant. But it's it's um, the connected vehicles. Those are coming. We're going to see more and more of them as technology comes about. So the smarter alert, safer roads is what I would kind of say is no, giving those workers, drivers, a little bit more notification in time.
Yeah, for sure. And then I guess in terms of you know um, the only thing I say is in our area, there's a lot of construction going on in and around the roads, and they're installing a new sort of, sky train system, so a train system as well. And, traffic is jammed up everywhere. But basically, I mean, what sort of things do people need to know about that? What sort of things are done to sort of optimize around that? Like, I don't, I'm not sure if I have a good question, but just to understand that, and what people have to deal with at various levels, and what sort of was sort of done to mitigate those things.
Mitigate the traffic or mitigate.
Yeah, construction, rerouting, it's quite a lot of it going on locally. And it just made me think when I was talking to you, I mean, from your point of view, right? 'Cause it's one thing to be living in the area and driving. What is sort of planning and what can't be planned towards sort of making that sort of as seamless as possible?
I mean, I would say traffic everywhere is a simple, powerful testament to vitality, of your community and or region. Signals cities are alive, right? With opportunity, where people are moving, and whether it's heading to work, right? As you said, driving or connecting to your loved ones, all those things, right? Congestion. Ultimately, it's a challenge, but it pushes kind of to innovate. And um, I would say that that's obviously a positive sign, right? I love that. Um, you know, to me, but you do have the planners who are working to reroute folks, the contractors who definitely don't want to shut down a project, don't sorry a lane, but what they do want to do is get that project done sooner. To get you about your way. So sometimes it's easier to shut down that traffic for that road for a few days rather than have it open. And there are also too safety concerns, right? Having traffic whizzing by is not good for anyone. So a lot of times they will shut those lanes down for safety, but also too for efficiency.
Got it.
But traffic everywhere, as I said, is a positive thing. That's a good thing, Tats.
That's a good way of looking at it. I like that. The value of your home is going up.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Awesome. You said you sort of look at all aspect of it. What's the look at it from the contractor's point of view? What are they concerned about? What are the things that are they trying to do to improve their organizations?
They're trying. I think for them, it's making sure they have those employees, those employees who come who leave just as they came to work, right? And that smarter, connected work zones will help them do that. I think for them, it's about safety, and that's primarily on all aspects. Even from our owners' agencies, they care just as much for that as well.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, what are some interesting things that your organization is doing around events or just other things?
Yeah, so we have a robust event program throughout the year that we coordinate with our localities to have transportation symposiums to figure out what they have got going on. Couple events. We also partner with MDQI Quality Initiative. It's at it kind of it's a great event at the beginning of the year, but there are individual committees that work together for a quality initiative to um, talk about practices that have worked or haven't worked throughout the year, and where the contracting consultant and owner community come together to discuss that.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. Is there anything that I didn't ask but you wanted to share?
Yeah, I think I wanted to kind of leave you and your listeners the important message, right? Get involved. I said a little bit how these roads, bridges, transit systems are funded, but take the time to understand your local funding and where it's going. It's easy to assume that our roads, bridges, broader infrastructure will be in good shape, but that's not a given. We need to actively participate and advocate to ensure our infrastructure is well maintained and safe. Working together, we can build a stronger and more connected community. And we have partnered with a software called Virtual Citizen, and they have a great technology, easy to use technology that you can easily pick up your phone and dial pound 250 and say the words TTF, and you can quickly be connected to your legislator and get a little more information to let them know that you're involved.